Hey Forum, my name is Manny, aka CascadeScents. Welcome to another video. As you see by the title, this one is on my top 5 most complimented fragrances designer-wise for 2020. It goes without saying that 2020 at the very least has affected everyone a little bit negatively. So no kidding, that sucks. But when it comes to fragrances, you also may have been impacted here too. And if we were to dive into any of those aspects a little deeper, one of them is compliments. For me at least, I haven't been receiving that many compliments this year because I had to spend a lot of time working alone at home, for example. So I've been away from the public eye. That, and if I was in public, I would be wearing a mask and or social distancing. So again, when it comes to those unsolicited compliments that are arguably the most flattering, unfortunately I have not been receiving many of those, and that really sucks for the quality of a video like this. That being said, if you want to take something out of this video here, I actually receive compliments from any of these fragrances through the mask. So either from a close loved one or like a dentist and or a barber. Like that's typically who's been giving me the compliments this year. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Anyways, I'm still very excited to give you guys this list. So we're going to count down starting from number 5 to number 1. And at number 5, here we go. It is Noir Extreme by Tom Ford. Now, Noir Extreme is a night out favorite of mine. It's really hard to dislike that coffee accord. Spicy, nut, sweet, creamy. It's just one thing that you really want to cuddle against. But before you even get there, the scent cloud that I feel like is projecting off of me, at least in the first couple hours, is that cardamom note. Cardamom's a really nice warm spice, and when you get it in the air, it feels like you're physically walking into like a scent cloud or aura of some sort. It feels very welcoming here, and then again, once you want to get closer to someone in that scent cloud, you get a dose of that coffee, a little bit of vanilla. It's just hard not to like this stuff overall. It's a nuanced gourmand fragrance with a little bit of Indian influence, and actually it smells really good just thinking about that all together. And I know I mentioned that this fragrance is more of a night out favorite of mine, but I still think it smells so darn cozy that if you're just in with the bae because, you know, COVID-19 and you guys are just watching movies, YouTube videos or whatnot, this is something you would definitely want to kick back with, and she's gonna love it. So if you don't know, now you know already. There you go. It's Noir Extreme from Tom Ford. Alright, moving on to my number 4 most complimented fragrance this year. Here we go. It's Versace Pour Homme by Versace, of course. Now, the initial Versace Pour Homme is so refreshing and hard not to reach for its price, of course, as far as what you can get it discounted wise. How can you not fit this stuff into your rotation? We're talking something that you can reach for anywhere. Very bright, very citrusy, and everyone's going to love it too. So I mentioned that citrus. Of course, you're getting a little bit of neroli as well. Neroli being that bitter orange flower, going to give you a juicy floral sharp bite. A little bit of orange leaf as well for a greener dimension. But overall, I would say the opening comes off as a little bit aldehydic, kind of like what you'd find out of a Chanel, for example. And this fragrance has drawn many comparisons to Allure Homme Sport from Chanel, of course, and that fragrance is, of course, without saying, very nice, very refreshing, but a little bit overpriced, so that's why more often than not, this gets recommended over that. In my personal opinion, this one is even juicier as well, and just an overall better value. So what can I say about this scent? Just hard to hate, yeah. Even into the dry down stages, I feel like you're still getting nuances of that brightness too, until, of course, you get a little bit more of a white musk that is kind of plain, but of course you're in here for the show of the first 3 to 4 hours as far as what it projects. It's a fragrance I don't mind spraying on throughout the day, although it has a little bit more bite than some of those, you know, Acqua di Parma or Joe Malone style fragrances that don't have much of a dry down. Maybe because the stuff is very synthetic and that's why it does last more, but nonetheless, I really don't care, and no one else is complaining because they seem to be loving this stuff too. And it's funny, some people ask me what this stuff actually is because they like it for themselves, and maybe they just go anosmic to it too because they're surprised when I tell them it's Versace Pour Homme, and they're like, oh, my boyfriend already has that, or I already have that. So I guess that also goes to show that fragrance still smells differently on everyone, and or it's hard to discern if this is something you already have. So feel free to keep that in mind when you're going about your day wearing this, but don't be afraid to. It's awesome. Again, it's Versace Pour Homme from Versace. Alright, moving on to the next most complimented fragrance this year for me. It's Amen Pure Havane from Mugler. And I know I keep mentioning this stuff either on winter lists and or most complimented fragrance lists throughout the years, but for good reason. It just works. Something you can dress up, something you can dress down, something that has this masculine edge with the tobacco vibe that obviously it's named from, but it's a little bit more welcoming than your run-of-the-mill tobacco because of that cherryness too. So it's like a cherry tobacco, a little bit of honey as well. So you're getting this more gourmand approach to this. It makes sense because it has that Amen base too. So it just takes the most crowd-pleasing elements of both tobacco and the Amen base, and this is what you get. I must say though, if you are looking for a bona fide tobacco scent, something that's a little bit more rugged and or just feels like there's an edge to it, I wouldn't say this is it. As a matter of fact, I think this is one of the smoother Mugler Amen offerings. So if you want something further more manly, I'm not sure if this is it, but again, it still feels like quite the masculine scent to me. Another thing is, I know that some people thought about maybe getting Naxos from Xerjoff, which seems like a higher end version of something like this. I mean, you can go that route as well. I'm sure it will also pull in similar feedback, but I definitely have an attachment to the scent because I guess I've been getting compliments with it over the years, and as a result, I just don't want to stop wearing it. I don't even smoke cigars, but I don't mind smelling like them, I guess, so that's why this keeps making the list. So another offering for all your cool night outings, again, it's Amen Pure Havane from Mugler. Alright, moving on to the next fragrance on this list, the second most complimented fragrance this year, that is 1957 from Chanel. Now, 1957 for me is Chanel throwing their name into the hat of musky fragrances, because a lot of niche brands and or high-end designers like Chanel just felt like getting their name in there because a lot of people were doing it. And I think Chanel did it in the most Chanel way while also knocking it out of the park for anyone who comes across this. I really feel like it's a Chanel that is hard to hate. I know Chanel's typically are a little bit polarizing as far as their aldehydic nature, followed up with a lot of florals that just come off as overly womanly and or too vintage. But this is one of those scents that I really feel like bridges the gap from vintage to modern, and we have to applaud Olivier Polch for that. So we're talking bergamot, iris, neroli at the top, very bright, also comes off as aldehydic. So it's bright, it gives a slight kick to your nose, and when you follow that up with a little bit of cedar and honey, you're gonna get a sweet and woody vibe, but like a soft woody vibe that just meshes well with the musk. The white musk here is just super clean and just one that you just want to get right next to. Very hard to hate if you just so happen to smell it in the wild through someone's mask, and or if you're just lying down with a loved one or having lunch with them, you walk by, they catch a waft of this, and trust me, it's really one that's an unexpected head turner, but then you get a waft of this yourself and you're like, wow, yeah, this is the real deal. So if you're looking for a high-end musk with Chanel facets and brighter modern facets as well, this is really one that I would definitely recommend. Girls compliment me with this, guys compliment me with this. Again, it's really, really hard to hate. Once more, it's 1957 by Chanel, Oregon, 1957. And last but not least, here we go with my most complimented fragrance of the year. And this is something I got earlier this year that I was hunting down for many years, but finally found it at the right price. And I'm so glad I did. It's Higher Energy from Christian Dior. Guys, Higher Energy is one of those scents that I just can't help but love. Flanker to the initial Higher Energy gives a more cologne-y, even more sporty vibe with its reliance on grapefruit among other fruits. It's not too sharp, but comes off as sweet and juicy in a way that you may want to drink it. But that stuff's quickly followed up with a little bit of spice as well. We're talking some black pepper to give a nice kick to your nose. You got other herbs there as well, and overall it's just going to feel very invigorating. It's one of those scents that is really evocative of the name. Like, it really feels elevated and or you should be doing something productive. So it's one of my morning work scents just because I feel like getting stuff done in this. And then I furthermore feel like getting stuff done in this when I get a compliment with it too. Like one of these days I was running errands. I was actually at the post office and sent stuff away. So the post person asked what it is. I thought that was really cool. And then I actually had to get a haircut later that day. And then my barber thought it was really nice. I actually got that for him for his birthday. And later that afternoon, a couple of my loved ones also enjoyed it as well, which seems like a lot for a fragrance that I just don't think is supposed to project too hard. But if you're wearing this in the dead summer heat, I just feel like it radiates beautifully. You're going to get a nice citrusy, spicy, herbal accord that's hard to hate. A little bit of vetiver there for a masculine edge. And I'm not trying to dunk on this fragrance whatsoever, but to me, this is what you kind of graduate to from Axe. Like, it smells like a high-end Axe to me, if that makes any sense. And again, I'm not trying to disrespect the scent. It's one that I definitely think is worthy in the Dior catalog, and I kind of wish it just caught on more in the West, but unfortunately, I think North America is like the only continent that doesn't carry it for whatever reason, so what can I say? Yet somehow we had Dior Homme recommend for many years and no one else got that. Dior's kind of weird like that when it comes to regional exclusives, but if you can definitely hunt it down at the right price, I definitely recommend this stuff. And yeah, I think that about does it for Higher Energy by Christian Dior at number 1, my most complimented fragrance of the year. And hey forum, I think that about does it for me, so thank you for your ongoing support as always. What do you guys think of my most complimented fragrances of the year designer wise? Please let me know in the comment section below, and also tell me what you guys have been receiving compliments with this year. I know it's been hard to under the masks and the social distancing, so yeah, I'd love to know nonetheless. And if you have any suggestions at all for any other upcoming videos, again, I'd love to know that too. If you really enjoyed this video, also subscribe and hit the notification bell for more. Really helps you get my videos seen in the near future too. I'd really appreciate it as well. Again, all this content is for free and I don't mind doing it, but I'd really appreciate it if you guys watched it too. And yeah, what can I say? These designers rule. Designers are approachable, accessible, and they're often crowd pleasing, so I'm not shocked to see any of these on this list. But if you have expensive taste yourself, please stay tuned for my niche list. That will be to come in the next coming days. And until then, I think that officially does it for me, so thanks again for watching forum. Be safe out there. My name is Manny, Wary Fragrances.